We're back. We're back. We're back and we black. Oh. All right, peeps. We're gonna get back into another video. Um, let's talk about gaming because there's so much craze and attention on people gaming, and I don't know what the big deal is. Cause we don't sit here and talk about how people just sit at home and watch TV and watch Netflix all day long. How's that any different from actually gaming? Y'all let me know. But anyways, we're gonna watch this documentary. Why do people play? The booming gaming market. They say booming, but I mean, gaming's been a thing since the 70s, so I don't know what they talking. It's been booming since the 80s, so I don't know what they talk about. All right, peeps, let's get into this.
Ants are considered hard-working creatures. Humans are too. Many people define themselves through their jobs. Hard work is seen as honorable. It's often glorified, in fact. But should work determine who we are? What do we like to do most in our free time?
Yeah, what do we like to do in our free time?
Play.
These days we're playing a lot more than we used to.
We should.
The board games market is booming. The video games market is too. Games have been integrated into schools and companies for a while now. Are we running from reality? Will we turn into creatures that play more than work? And if so, who's going to stack the shelves and collect the trash?
Now, let's just call it what it is. That's an over dramatic size scenario. People are still gonna work, but in their spare time they're gonna be gaming. Or you could be like everybody else out here and just start killing people and shooting people and still and doing retail theft. You could, that's an option too, but you know, whatever.
Playing is fundamental. It's a primal phenomenon that we see in all areas of life. Animals play, so it's natural that humans play too. When animals come into the world, their brains are not yet fully developed. It's the same with humans. We have to learn a lot from birth, and we do that through play.
In the first 7 years of life alone, our brain volume triples, and it wants to be filled. Exploratory play is the term researchers use when toddlers explore their environment.
They mostly like doing that with their mouths. They put everything in their mouth because it has so many sensory receptors. They're exploring and grasping things in the truest sense of the word.
At some point, imagination comes into play. Objects are linked to story. And not every game of chance can be used to redistribute wealth.
Bees and ants have a natural instinct which tells them their position in the group. But we humans are so unconfigured that we have to painstakingly learn the culture and rules of society. Like, how do we get along with other people, including strangers? How to divide up labor? We have to make rules together on how we want to get along in a city, village, settlement, and so on. That requires unifying common ideas. And the first board games tried to communicate these ideas.
The oldest surviving board game is the royal game of Or. It was played almost 5,000 years ago in Mesopotamia. The object of the game is to get all your pieces off the board before your opponent. Playing games as survival training used to be necessary, but these days we don't fight mammoths or chase feudal lords with pitchforks. Do people these days play to fill the time that's been freed up through increased prosperity? Perhaps games offer us the experience of tackling challenges that no longer exist within the relatively comfortable lives we lead today.
I would say, you know, if you want to go deep into this, yeah, back in the old days, what were people doing? I mean, a lot of the tasks that we have today are literally get done like that. Whereas back in the day, I mean, listen, women would stay home and cook and clean, but it would take them damn near 12 hours just to clean and cook because they didn't have, the mops and the type of mops that we have today. And I mean, they had to get on their knee. Well, they had to get a rag, pretty big rag, and they had to push on the floor to, as they say, mop the floor. There was no duster. Your dusting was basically getting a rag and wiping down stuff. And back then they had bigger houses. Also, if you look even go further back, a lot of the food that we eat is industrialized food. I mean, we don't have to go plant our own food. Like back in the day, you either had to go plant your own food or go to the market, and depending on where you lived, that could take half a day just to go there and back. And I mean, so yeah, it wasn't a whole lot of free time to do stuff like it is today. So that's why, come on, I mean, we got it.
Or are we simply bored and looking to escape into fantasy worlds?
It's not like we're stepping out of reality. The game is just another reality that we are in.
And keep
While
in mind,
playing,
we're
I can
living in a
take on a
very
different
peaceful
role.
times.
I can harm
too.
someone else, as long as it's within the rules. I'm allowed to play mercilessly for my own benefit. I'm allowed to have a plan and not reveal it. I'm allowed to bluff. There are even games that I can only win by cheating.
There you go.
That's one advantage of playing games over watching movies and series. It's easier to slip into a different role when you're active and completing tasks yourself.
That's why games became so popular during the pandemic. The games industry has seen a 20 to 25% increase in sales worldwide.
Offline to online games. So why is their appeal so much greater?
There are so many more features to engage with. You can better connect with other people and play in groups.
I'm gonna say something else too about just gaming in general. A lot of people that don't game don't understand something. Today is the best time to start to be a gamer versus back in the 90s. Now, I would say this, back in the 90s, there were way more quality games. They had bugs. Chris, trust me, they had bugs, but they was way more quality, okay? Today's games, we're not going to even get into this whole transactional thing, but I will just tell you right now that today's companies, so the companies of the 90s were ran by people that actually play games. Like they were gamers and they opened up a studio and they opened up a company and created games. Today, you have business people that are getting into the gaming industry because they know that they can make money, and they're the ones that are directing and making the games. That's why you see a lot of studios shutting down in mid production or people leaving because it's too corporatized. Because they're more concerned about money and trying to push out something to get more money versus actually just creating the quality. And unfortunately, what you have is a clash between those developers who actually develop the game, who are really passionate people who play games, versus the corporate heads who don't even know what a D-pad is on a controller. Right? So you have a clash. That's why you have those people leaving and creating like startup companies, but then they don't have the backing, the financial backing, because fortunately today's time games cost money to make. If you want to make a high quality game, you gotta put money into it, unfortunately. So
You also have more open worlds, where there's just so much more space to explore. There's a large branch of research that deals with motives for gaming, and that showed us that people play computer games for competitive reasons or to train their skills.
like I was trying to say earlier, today is the greatest time to actually be a gamer because of the social aspect of it. So now, listen, I wish I was a kid. I wish I was 10 years old because now when I get my PlayStation, I can game with other kids or other people. I'm not alone because I'll be honest with you, it was just me and my mom, or me, my mom, and my grandmother. So now would be a great time to grow up because now I can get online, interact with other kids, have good social connections, and I can play, and I can do that all day long. I would never come out of the house like right now. It'd be in the summer. I would be right now playing online with some people. Now, present me don't do that because I got a job, which I need to go to bed. But I got a job, and then I talk to some of the people at my job, and what I'm saying, I'm busy now. But as a kid, it's a little bit different. So, yeah, today the social aspect, and I'm not gonna lie, I think that's better because it does teach, or it can teach. I shouldn't say it does. It can teach your children to be very social, especially when it comes to internet, because that's going to be a big thing in the future. Y'all don't know this, but I'm not going to get into the details of how the future of our jobs are going to play out. But yeah.
As in, they want to get better. Some people enter a spiral where they're spending more and more time online. They have the impression that they're improving at something and being successful, but they're no longer mastering tasks in the real world.
So there can be too much of a good thing. Gaming can become a problem. Especially when a game becomes so captivating that we can't just walk away from it.
Addictive behavior.
Gaming addiction.
Gaming disorder.
Not to be confused with gambling disorder.
I don't really believe, peace. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been hearing this bullshit. I'm calling it bullshit, but I've been hearing this bullshittery since the 90s about how gaming is addictive and da da da. Listen, even though I had a Nintendo, y'all saw my Super Nintendo. Come on, y'all saw it. I mean, come on. But listen, I was still outside riding my bike. Matter of fact, I had a 10-speed bike. I had three bikes at one point. Don't ask. Do not ask. Ask my mom about that. Do not ask. Because I had an 18 speed. I had a 10 speed. I had an 18 speed. And then there was this like motorcycle bike. It had pedals on it. But it looked literally like a motorcycle, like a mini ninja. Um, I was fascinated by it when I was in Sears and I was wanting to ride it. And I did ride it a little bit. And then she, for some odd reason, decided to get that for me for birthday, which I was confused by because I already had an 18 speed. And then the doggone bike didn't even fit me because I was too big for it. So yeah, it was. But I still did all that, and I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. Everybody around me that has systems, they would play, but we were still out and about playing. If anything, we probably was addicted to playing basketball. But I don't believe this whole gaming addiction thing. I think it's bullshit.
In 2022, there were at least 80 million people affected worldwide, and the trend is rising. In a game of chance, money is often at stake, and winning depends entirely or predominantly on chance. People play board games 30 times in a row when they'll play 30 hours of World of Warcraft or Candy Crush.
Tasty.
I don't know how y'all play Candy Crush. If y'all play Candy Crush, y'all are lame. Nah, I don't care. I don't even care. I don't know how y'all played it. This game is not fun to me. And I think it's because obviously, I come from like the old school days of like Tetris. So seeing it, I don't know. To me, it's not fun. Matter of fact, this is actually reminiscent of another game called Bust a Move. And if you don't know what that, I mean, if you know, you know. But yeah, I used to play Bust a Move, and it's pretty similar to this.
One of the mechanisms that kicks in here is the endowment effect, which we know from behavioral economics. Say I'm building a digital farm, and I develop a habit. I come back every day to harvest a few coins and continue shaping this world. This online world becomes increasingly important to me because I've already invested a lot of time.
Listen, the only people I know who play stuff like this is women. I don't really know too many men that play this. Maybe if the men are like non-gamers, they might play something like this because they're bored, but okay. And maybe this is a thing overseas that maybe they got people that are addicted to gaming. Here, I don't think this is reserved to people here.
Endowment effect becomes stronger over time, and users find it more and more difficult to detach from this world or to delete the app.
And it drives them to buy additional lives instead of waiting. Game companies exploit our play instinct. They know that games can activate a particular quality in us, namely
engagement. The game engages the player and provides an enjoyable experience. It makes the player overcome the various obstacles in the game with pleasure.
But if games have such power over us, why can't that be harnessed elsewhere? What if you could get school children or employees to tap into their play instincts to help them succeed at school or work? By using the tactics of the gaming industry, learning could become much more fun.
Just a side note here. Companies are already doing this. In fact, companies have been done this since the early 2000s. It's that companies and schools haven't grasped that, but they have training courses that would make math a lot more fun, science more fun. I mean, they have those type of courses available, but it's up to the schools and such to actually get those courses and implement them. But this has already been out. This has been out for 20, 30 years. Matter of fact, I would tell y'all up front, when I was at St. Michael's, which is a Catholic school, they actually had we had Macintosh computers. Listen, if you know, you know. And we're talking about MS DOS, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't know how to actually start any of the programs. There was only 2 people in our class that knew how to start up programs, so we would have to get them to actually type in the code in the DOS to actually start the game. And the game, all it was is just a learning game. But yeah, they've had this for years. And I would also say too, while he's fist bumping the robot, I think you're gonna see more robots in schools taking over teachers' responsibilities. But they listen, you ain't heard it from me. And then as far as work is concerned, I currently like at my job and what I've seen at some of the big corporations, there's not a push that you have to be working unless you're in production. But if you're white collar, it's not a like this big push that you have to be busy. You just basically have a task of things you need to do for that day. And how you do it, as long as it gets done by the end of the day, that's all that matters. How you spend the rest of your time could be doing other stuff, learning, doing what I do is taking up, like I'm in school doing coursework and stuff like that. So that's what I do usually at work. So
Gamification is the attempt to incorporate game elements into a non-game environment, so maybe turning something boring into something nice and exciting, to motivate people to become more engaged. People are especially quick to look for a way to cheat.
But if we're
I'm not going to talk about it. Let's just keep going.
predisposed to cheat, is the idea of playing for increased productivity doomed to fail?
There's a type of gamification that we call humanistic. Its aim is to boost development and awareness.
And more schools are introducing games into the classroom. Funding for game development is increasing every year. Game companies generate more revenue than Netflix, Disney, and all cinemas combined. We're certainly playing more, but is that good or bad?
We need to learn to think and behave in a flexible manner. Gaming skills can help us to adequately address the challenges of society in the future.
All right, we're gonna cut it off there. I've seen enough. I haven't seen this, so that's why I was kind of skipping to see if they had anything interesting to say. So I don't have anything to say about this. Once again, there's nothing wrong with gaming. There's nothing wrong with being a gamer. I think there is something wrong with you just sitting at home all day watching TV and watching Netflix when you could be gaming and being interactive with society, other people. Also, I will say this when it comes to gaming. So if done correctly, so you see how we have a lot of violence and all that stuff. You technically could create games that would teach people how to be better people in life, how to be more productive in life. You just have to do it in a more creative way, right? And unfortunately, gaming companies haven't done that. They haven't ventured down that road. So until that happens, we're gonna continue, I guess, shaming gamers and shitting on gamers, even though these same people that do that, all they do is watch TV. They don't interact with other people. They literally just watch TV. Whereas us gamers are interacting with other people. We're playing with other people. So I don't know what the big deal is. Um, y'all can go watch the documentary. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about gamers. I know y'all watch a lot of YouTube, but what are y'all thoughts on actually people doing gaming and gamers and people all they do is want to, go to school, come home and game all day or go to work, come home and game all day. What else would they if y'all think that's an issue, if you think it's an issue, what should those people be doing in their free time? Y'all let me know. Anyways, I am out. Peace and I am gone.